Hey, you guys, it's Colleen Kelly, and this is Round Trip with Colleen Kelly, your go to podcast for unforgettable travel stories, top tips, and all the adventures that you've been waiting for. All right, so I've got one of my favorite guests, Audrey Wilson, and she was my former producer for PBS. She never traveled before. Now she's been hit by the travel bug. She's also an author, and I can't wait for you to talk to her. So I've got a very special person again on this podcast, and she was on the radio with us before, but now you get to see her and meet her. And a very special person in my life that saved me many years ago with my PBS show. Audrey Wilson is with us, video producer, former producer for our PBS show, Family Travel with Colleen Kelly, now a celebrated author of 4 books. And I love seeing all your success, Audrey. So again, thanks for being on the show because I want to tell the story of us, but also talk about your books.
Well, I'm very happy to be back, Colleen. I was thinking the other day, I'm like, I've known you for over 10 years. Like,
Oh,
isn't that crazy? I had that thought. I'm like,
maybe.
how has 10 years gone by so quickly? But I'm honestly so happy to be back on your show. I'm so happy to just get to talk to you. Yeah, this is just a really great experience.
Well, you know how I feel. I adore you. And I asked Audrey before we came on if I could tell quickly the story of how we met. And how she started working as a producer for Family Travel with Colleen Kelly, the PBS show. So should we just like dive into it? Tell
Let's go
everybody.
for it. Go for it, Colleen.
Okay, so short story is I had a business partner, and we kind of went our separate ways. And I had 2 shows to produce in Hawaii. And she kind of left 6 weeks before these Hawaii shows were supposed to go on. So I put out a notice on Next Door Neighbors, right? Wasn't it Next Door Neighbors, or how did I find you?
That's a really good
It
question.
was 10
I
years
saw a
ago.
job listing somewhere. That's
Okay,
why.
maybe Next Door Neighbors didn't exist then. Oh, that was another person. But, okay, so anyway, I put out something, and Audrey's like, "Yeah, I've got time to work for you part-time," and so I was really excited. I'm like, "Oh my god, she's the perfect person." I'm gonna, dangle the little carrot and say, if I you know, if you say yes to being hired, you can come to 2 episodes in Hawaii, and you can help produce them and be there and have a great Hawaiian experience. And I didn't hear from you for, like, 24 hours, I think.
Okay.
And you said you came to me and you said, "I have to tell you, I love television, but" I don't know if you said, "I don't like travel, but I don't wanna travel, and I
Yeah.
don't want to go to Hawaii." And I'm like, "Oh." And you said, "But I want this job." I went, "Oh my gosh." So, tell them why you said that.
Yeah, so, I was fairly new out of college. I hadn't been on a plane in, like, over 20 years. So travel was very, like, intimidating to me, especially, like, thinking about a trip to Hawaii. I was like, "That's really far." Like, I don't know about that, but I was, starting out my career in television, and I really wanted this opportunity. I was excited to work for, a PBS show, like a national PBS show. It was really exciting to me. But I was like, "Oh, no, if I don't travel, like, what if I don't get this job?" But Colleen was just like, "No problem, like, that's perfectly fine." And what's so funny is then, I kinda got to get comfortable with my job, I got to know Colleen, I got to know just the ins and outs of traveling, and it really helped kind of make me feel more comfortable with getting on a plane and with traveling places. And then, a couple years later, within a year, I was going to California and Ireland and the Bahamas. It was like a complete 180 from having,
Oh
like,
my
not
god.
flown in 20 years to getting on a plane every other month.
Well, I remember, for, we had so many episodes that we had, and I'm like, "Okay, Audrey, you gonna come on this one?" You're like, "No, I'm good, I'll stay back," which was good because it was nice to have somebody back there,
True.
but we kept trying to get you to travel, and all of a sudden, one day, we were going to California, and you said, "Okay, I think I'll come." You
It
remember
it ha
that?
I knew it had to be, like, the right place. Like, I'd always wanted to go to California, and so I feel like something about that just kinda told me, like, this is it, like, take the
Yeah.
plunge, go for it. And it was such a good experience too. Like, it was so fun. I literally, I'm traveling with a travel expert, so
Oh,
with
not
Colleen,
really. I wish
so
you
no,
said I am.
it's true though, like, you helped teach me, like, what I need to pack, like, all of this stuff, how to get through the airport, how to, getting your boarding pass, like, all of that. Things that people, who don't travel regularly, like, don't necessarily know how to do. Like, they may sound simple to somebody who's traveling all the time, but, like, it can be intimidating to know even where to start. And so I
Yeah,
was
and I
very
lived
grateful to have that.
yeah, no, I sorry to interrupt you, but I
No.
lived through it through your eyes because I do travel a lot, and I thought, "Okay, she's gonna know where to go," and then you're like, "Okay, where do I go?"
Right.
And and then when you got there, this was the cutest thing. We arrived at John Wayne Airport. I don't know if it's still called that,
Oh,
but it's in
yeah.
Orange County, and, there
It
was a
is.
palm tree there outside the airport, and you said, "This is the first palm tree I've ever seen, like, physically."
Yeah,
And you took a
exactly.
picture, and I saw the world through your eyes, and I thought, "Wow, this is incredible." But then, of course, you were hit by the travel bug, and
Mhm.
now, she's off going to Ireland and speaking in Ireland and all sorts of places, and then she became an author of
Exactly.
4 books. So, yeah, so it's just incredible that you just did that, and and for people that haven't traveled, like you just mentioned, like, what advice would you give them about, taking that leap to travel? Because it is terrifying to get on a
It
plane.
is.
It's terrifying to travel, when you haven't done it.
Yeah,
Do you have any
absolutely. No,
advice
I would
on that?
say from my perspective, kinda like I said with California, making it a trip that you really want to go on will be a huge motivator. Like, sometimes people say like, "Oh, you can start small with a shorter flight," but in a way, like, a flight is still a flight. You're still having to get on a plane, so a couple hours isn't gonna make much of a difference. So, if you've always wanted to travel to California or Hawaii or wherever your dream destination is, having that be your goal can be a really big motivator in getting you to, get on the plane and to go through, all the preparation for traveling. It can really motivate you.
So the having, like, a little dream that helps, but how do you get over, like,
Exactly.
the anxiety of just kind of getting on the plane? Because that's a whole other thing.
Absolutely. I mean, I try to tell myself before I know it, I'm gonna be on the ground again. Before I know it, I'm gonna be enjoying my vacation, enjoying a whole new place, and that the flight is just part of that journey. And, there's so many safety protocols, like everything is, pretty secure and just kind of trusting that process. I think that's really what like the mindset that got me through. Um Also, then kind of having a plan for when you're on the plane. So, whether you're listening to an audiobook, that's something I like to do a lot, or music, or just kind of knowing how you're going to plan out your time, um, is also really helpful because it gives you a bit of a sense of control and a sense of security when you have a bit of a plan, at least for your flight.
I love that. So that's what you did when you went to California with
Mhm.
us,
And
and
that was
then
nice
after
because they had
that
movies on the plane too.
oh,
That
that
was
is
a treat.
helpful, kind of
Yeah.
distract you. Yeah,
Right.
that's helpful. You got hit by the travel bug,
Mhm.
and now do you love traveling? I mean, obviously, you speak now because you're an author and you went to Ireland again and with your husband. So what is that like now? Do you want to travel more or, like, how has your life changed?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
I would say I would definitely travel more. I don't feel like I travel nearly as much as when I was working with you, Colleen, just because we were going on trips, like I said, every other
Uh-huh.
month. So I would love to be able to travel more, but I also think between the writing, between my day job, like all of that, it's hard to find the time. So when I do travel, I want to make sure it's to a place that I really want to go because I know I don't have as much time these days to travel. Same with the money and everything, like, obviously, that's a factor. So, when I'm looking at places that I want to go, I'm really trying to think about, like, what are places that are on my bucket list? What are places that I've always wanted to go to? And then putting my time and money and energy towards that.
And one of those places was not just Ireland, but Winter Park, Colorado.
Mhm. Yep,
And
I'd
why
never
did you
been to
go there?
Colorado.
And what was that like for you? Like, why did you go there and what was it like?
Yeah, absolutely. So initially, I was actually going there for a work trip with the company that I work for, 9 to 5. They do kind of these biannual trips where we can all get together in person since we're normally remote. and they said that the trip was going to be in Denver this year. And I was talking to my husband. I'm like, well, we've never been to Denver. It'd be fun to do kind of like a winter getaway. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we started looking into different places, and we came across the Winter Park Mountain Lodge, which is about, I think, an hour and a half ish outside of Denver, up in the mountains in Winter Park, Colorado. And we were just like, this seems like the perfect, kind of location for us
Cozy.
to go to. Yeah, cozy,
Yeah.
not too ostentatious, like very homey, very welcoming. Just really, really nice experience for a lodge, especially for two people who really had never had that kind of winter getaway before. It's also located right across the street from the Winter Park Resort, which is just this huge park that offers skiing and all sorts of winter activities. They've got little shops, restaurants. It's like a little piece of what you would expect in the mountains in Colorado. It's really, really something. Um, but another part to that was, my husband has skied for, since he was a kid, but I'd only been
Oh,
skiing like,
Danny? I
yeah.
didn't know he skied.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
he skis. He hasn't done it as
Okay,
much in
okay,
recent years, but he grew up skiing. Um,
okay.
I've only skied once in my life,
Mm,
and
yeah.
I lived to tell the tale. Like, I didn't break any bones. But let's just say it's not something that I feel I'm going to become an expert at. And so
Oh,
I
you're
wanted
not
to
gonna
try.
be yeah, an expert, like
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's not happening. Yeah,
Yep.
me either. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so,
You
it was
tried it?
I did try it. Yeah, we tried it in, Wisconsin, though. So the first time I skied was a few years ago. Um, we went with my sister-in-law and her husband, and it was funny because he had also never skied before, and, he just, like, took to the slopes. He's, like, flying down, like, going on the big
Oh
ones, and I'm, like,
god.
barely standing. Just, he had
It's
a knack
hard.
for it. Yeah, it is hard,
It's
and
very hard.
so I
Yeah,
was
there's
hoping that in Colorado, I was like, "Well, I'd love to do some, like, outdoor winter activities," but I didn't particularly want to do skiing, and so we were looking at the winter park resort, options, and they had snowshoeing, which is, not
oh,
quite like
yeah.
skiing, it's more of like a family-friendly activity, which is
Yeah,
kinda nice. Um, but you basically have these boots, and you put these, like, I don't know, they almost look like tennis rackets on these boots, and you trek down a mountain, and it's
hiking.
really cool. You get to ride up the chairlift and everything, and then a guide like kind of walks you down this mountain, and you go through the snow, and he tells you about the area and nature, and it was just really like a relaxing but also adventurous way to kind of have that like winter experience.
Okay, so you did that. So I've done the snowshoeing thing, and I'm kinda more into that now because I have done the
Mhm.
skiing, and back in
Yeah.
the day, I got pretty good, and now I'm terrible. I'm terrible
Really?
at skiing,
You like
and
lost your
I'm
knack for it?
oh my god, no, I lost my knack for it,
Yeah.
and but whenever I ski, I go on the bunny hill first, and everybody always laughs at me because I have to build up my confidence,
Right.
but I did the bunny hill the other day, and I said oh, and I had to do something for my TV show, and I think Megan, the producer, is there. Oh, it was awful, it was awful. I was just, like, done. So we did snowshoeing, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, this is my vibe now," because I
Yeah.
really oh, goodness. Why did not turn off my phone? That happens, everybody, on a
Yeah.
podcast. I decided to do the snowshoeing and well, I didn't decide, it was part of our show, and I loved it because I wasn't gonna break a leg if I was snowshoeing, but I still got to be out in the winter,
Right,
right?
exactly, yeah, and
So
that's what I loved about it
yeah.
too, and I think it's a great option for families or just for people who don't necessarily know how to or don't feel comfortable skiing, where you can still get that, like, winter experience, and, I was also a little worried, I was like, "Oh, is my husband gonna feel like he's missing out on getting to ski in Colorado?" And he told me afterwards, he was like, "That was so fun, like, I am so glad we
Mm.
did that instead of skiing, like, it was just something different," and yeah, we both really loved it. So it
And
was a
he can
really great.
always he can sorry, he can always keep like, ski by himself, like, a lot of people ski by themselves
Exactly,
too.
yeah, exactly. There's a couple
Yeah.
places up in Wisconsin, we're in the Chicagoland area, so, up in Wisconsin where you can go skiing. So it's not that difficult to find a place.
Did they have the one, like, where you sit in, like, the oh, the tubes? What is that called? Why am
Oh,
I
yeah,
totally blanking right
tubing.
now?
right?
Yeah, did they have that
Yeah.
there?
They
Because
do
that's
have
always a
that
fun
there.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah,
didn't
that's
do that, but they did have it. We thought about it 'cause it looked like it would be fun. Yeah, they had tubing and they had a couple different things too as well. Obviously skiing, they had quite a few different slopes, which is nice, and for different, like, age levels as well, snowboarding too, of course. But yeah, they had a lot of different things, and even just walking around the resort was fun. Another thing that I really enjoyed there, and it's not so much a sport, but they've got a gondola ride that goes up, like, I wanna say it's like 1,500 feet or something, to this lodge, on the side of this mountain, and it's just absolutely
Ooh,
stunning. So, after we went snowshoeing, we went up in that, and the views are spectacular. You're just looking for miles across at the mountains, and then once you get up to
wow.
this lodge, they have this restaurant, they have live music. It's just really fun. It's like the perfect, like, Colorado vibe.
This is Winter Park, Colorado, right?
Yes,
Like, where
yep.
you did this? And this is not far
Mhm.
from Denver, right?
No,
I think
it's
it's
not.
like
Yeah, we used, they have transportation services that you can rent, so, we used a company called Home James, and it was very, very reasonable. They picked us up at a spot in Denver and just drove us up to right in front of our resort, so, like, right in front of the Winter Park Mountain Lodge. They dropped you off and, we got checked in and, kinda took it from
wait, what
there.
is this company? Home
Home
James?
James?
And it's like an Uber? Or
Kind of, yeah, it's like a little shuttle, like a bus. So they
okay.
usually have, like, a few different people on it and, like I said, pretty straight shot from Denver. And then what's also nice about staying at the Winter Park Mountain Lodge is because they're right across the street from the Winter Park Resort, they've got shuttles that run all the time, back and
Oh,
forth to the resort. They've got shuttles that run into town, so that you can, like, kinda hop on and just take it down Main Street. And in Winter Park, they've got different stops there, got a bunch of different restaurants. It's really fun to just kind of walk around. And I heard too, so Winter Park Mountain
mm,
Lodge is actually doing like a whole renovation. And I'm not sure when that's supposed
ooh,
to be ready, but I know that's one thing that they're working on. And I believe part of that I recently read is that they're adding in some type of gondola going into town from the resort. So I'm like, that would be a really cool way to kind of get.
that'd be fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
But,
my gosh.
it's very
So I
accessible is
like
my point.
shuttles because yeah, because well, you'd like be killed by Ubers, like cost wise. Shuttles are
Mhm.
great because you just have to like tip the driver or something, a couple dollars or $5 or whatever, and like you
Right.
just get takes you everywhere. So that's awesome. So I have a thought for you, or a question for you. Um, I'm guessing because you've already written 4 books. I'm guessing you might be inspired by this scene. Because I don't know. I mean, I know authors that they go somewhere and then all of a sudden, like, their mind starts, like, thinking. So,
Mhm.
I don't know if this inspired your recent book, but, everybody, I wanna talk about Audrey again because she's written 4 books and she's got a book coming out August 5th. May not be about Winter Park, but next one might be, who knows? But can you tell us a little bit about your book? Because it sounds a little scary, but, sounds like a thriller.
Absolutely. So, my next book, I've got a copy right here. It's called The Ever
Oh,
End. So, yeah, it is
I love
I
the
would say.
name.
Thank you, thank you. I would say it's a psychological thriller, with some horror to it, but a lot of people have said it's a good horror book for people who don't really read horror, because it's kind of more of a psychological thriller in a lot of ways. But it's about a woman who, actually goes with her family, with her fiancé to visit his family in a remote town in Iowa. And, they just got engaged, they're looking to plan their wedding, so they go to meet his family, and Margot, the main character, she soon starts to realize that his family's a little strange. They're not quite as nice as they appear to be.
Oh my
And
god,
as
that's like my husband's family.
See,
Okay, keep going.
it's relatable.
It's very relatable to all women, I think. Okay, keep going.
Exactly. Yeah, and so, she goes to spend this long weekend with them, and, kind of as the weekend progresses, just little things start coming up. Um, she starts finding out, different things about his family that she didn't know, and, as this kinda starts spiraling, she starts realizing, like, there's something very dark going on here. They have this weird obsession with a televangelist who died, and they watch him on TV all the time, and they're kind of religious. They've got these strange traditions that they keep trying to force on her, and she just kind of keeps feeling boxed in, like she's not getting to make any decisions of her own. And so, there's some reveals and twists along the way. I won't get too much into it. I don't want to spoil anything. But
Right.
it's definitely a quick read. It's a page turner. And it's got a very kind of relatable main character in a very relatable situation. We've all felt too polite to say no at times, and
Yeah.
she's kind of put into those situations time and time again.
Wow, okay, so you can't tell us the end, right?
No, I
It's
can't
called
tell you
The
the
Ever
ending.
End.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta find out
No,
what the ever end is.
and is it kind of one of those books where you're, like, so surprised at the end, or you're thinking it's gonna go one way, and you're like, "Oh my god, that was not what I was thinking."
I think everybody I've heard reviews from who have read it were very shocked by the ending. So I'm excited to see kind of, as when it gets released, like what people think of that. Like, did they see it coming? But so far, people have been surprised by it. So I think that's a
What
that's
are
a good
some
sign.
reviews? Like, can you tell us what people have said?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually I've got quite a few in here. Um, but let's see, one of the ones I really liked was Teresa Brock from Best Thriller Books. And she says, from prologue to the ending, this eerily unsettling blend of thriller and cult horror will consume you.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, so hopefully people are a little bit enticed by that. I've got one here from Avante Centre, international bestselling thriller author, that says, "So devilishly creepy, it will make your skin crawl." So
Ooh.
there's quite a few like that. That people are saying, and yeah, people are unsettled and intrigued.
I think that's great because I there's nothing worse than, like, the movie and you see the ending, you're like, "Okay, just that was just not fun, that wasn't interesting, I totally saw that coming," and I love
Exactly.
movies like that, that kind of, like, really throw you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, this is a book, but I truly believe, and I've said this before to Audrey, I truly believe one of these books, I have a feeling about this one, is gonna be a movie. I
Let's
just
hope
do. I don't
so.
know my gut. Yeah, yeah,
That
and
would be
it'll probably throw
awesome.
people. Yeah, but I where can people find more information about your book? And also it's coming out August 5th, correct? But they can
Correct.
also get it through Amazon
Absolutely.
and
Yeah, so it's
pre-order.
actually currently available for pre-order. So you can order it on Amazon, you can order it through bywaterbooks.com, which is the publisher. You can order a signed copy from me. So that's through my website at www.audreywilsonauthor.com. I would be more than happy to sign and personalize a copy for anybody who would like it. So yeah,
Does that include me?
that
Okay,
absolutely includes you, Colleen.
okay, 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 good. Alright, and there's also the other books that Audrey has written. Tell us about your other books because all this can be found at audreywilsonauthor.com.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my other thriller is called Wrong Girl Gone. And that one, kind of talking about place and setting. The setting is kind of a southern backdrop. I grew up going to visit my family in a lot of like small, kind of remote towns. And that was a big inspiration for Wrong Girl Gone. I wanted to kind of tell this story of this woman who's in an abusive relationship, and she's desperate to get out of it. So one day she takes her son, and the two of them kind of set off trying to find a new life for each other. And they soon realize that they're being followed, that she can't really outrun her past. So the story kind of takes off from there. But like I said, kind of growing up going to a lot of small towns, I really used that inspiration for the setting with that story. um, my other book is called Only Human. It's a sapphic romance about these two women, kind of told from both of their perspectives. And the one has this kind of mysterious past that she can't quite remember. And when she meets this other girl, she just feels a connection with her that she doesn't understand. So as they explore their relationship, her past kind of starts coming back to haunt her. And that one, the setting is also kind of, special to me in that it takes place in my area, in the Chicagoland area, in Indiana, just places that I've also spent a lot of time, going to over the years that I've been inspired by with trips that I've taken. So I would say, travel has really been a big influence in my writing in a lot of ways. Um, it's funny, Colleen, that you should mention the kind of the Colorado mountains and that winter setting as a possible backdrop for a story because
Oh,
with
no, you've got another one.
I do. My husband and I actually just wrote a novel, and it's our first one together. We've written screenplays, but this is our
Did
first
you
novel that
survive?
we've
Did you
written.
survive that with your
We're
husband?
we're still married, so
Okay.
that's a good sign. But that one very much explores, kind of this backdrop of a isolated winter area. It takes place in Minnesota, which was a trip that he and I took last year, and we're very kind of inspired by the setting there. So yeah, it's just travel can just be such a window into different worlds, different settings, different people. We always joke that we tend to get our best ideas when we travel together because we're experiencing new things in a new place, and we kind of use that to fuel our creativity.
It's amazing. So you're an author of 4 books, and it's so interesting to say that travel has inspired you when you write, 'cause I don't know. I mean, I feel very inspired by travel too, and I love the fact that you're doing this, but I don't know, you're gonna probably have, like, 4 or 5 more books because you're gonna have one on Ireland because you went to Ireland now, and
Absolutely.
Winter
Yep.
Park, so you better stop traveling or there's just gonna be, like, a million more books.
I know. I'm not going to have the time to write all of them.
No. Audrey, thank you for joining us. You know me, I adore you to pieces and love you and so happy that you're on the show and talked about your experience traveling and your books and where again can people find more information about you and all your wonderful books and the book that's coming out, The Ever End.
Well, thank you so much, Colleen. It's been a pleasure being on your show as always. Yeah, people can find out more about me and my books at audreywilsonauthor.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok at Audrey Wilson Author. And you can pre order The Ever End currently on Amazon, Bywater Books, and wherever books are sold.
And so you can get a signed copy, which I'm going to get.
And a signed copy. Yep,
I'm just
absolutely. Head
guessing.
to my website. Well, thank you so much, Colleen, for having me on the show. I always love talking with you and just hanging out with you. You're such an inspiration to me. So thank you.
Oh, you're an inspiration to me. I have to write a book now. All right, hugs. Hugs across.
Virtual.
Virtual. I am so glad you got to meet Audrey. As you know, she didn't travel before, and all of a sudden now she's traveling. She's been hit by the travel bug, and it's turned into 4 novels. So it's just a great experience to show you that if you haven't traveled, you can be hit by the travel bug, and it might just reflect on your whole life, and maybe you'll write a novel. I don't know. Maybe I will. Thank you all so much for listening to my podcast. For more inspiration, go to Round Trip Colleen Kelly on all socials. You can also visit roundtripcolleenkelly.com for more information and travel articles. And if you'd like to get in touch and reach out to me, I would love it. Also, finally, if you like what you hear, please follow, subscribe, and leave us a comment here. We would love to hear from you.